All right, another awesome HSM Academy question. I got hit with a lot of good ones. So today's is from E. She says, can you comment on enough fat in your daily food selections? I grew up in a very balanced but fat-phobic household. My mom's small bottle of oil would get rancid from lack of use. We had nothing fried, mostly steamed or boiled, with small 1/2 teaspoon amounts of oil and butter. On vegetables, I've always had a low-fat skim or dairy products as an adult and eat mostly chicken, fish, pork, and lean beef with it. Thank you. Over the holiday season, my lower brain decided to zero in on mixed nuts. You know, you really need that much fat, and nuts are a good source of fat. You should eat some nuts each day. It really seemed like a logical argument, even to my cognitive brain. Should I consider adding nuts in every day? They really no longer are tempting, just keeping them out of the house. My lower brain has no problem with convincing me that I need handfuls and not just a sprinkle on my overnight oats or in a salad. I don't have the same goading with avocado, which I also like and eat occasionally. By the way, we always have nuts in the house because my husband eats them frequently. All right, so E, I am actually going to include a resource with this about what is recommended as far as fat percentages in your daily intake. So even if you're on a fairly low fat diet, about 50 grams of fat per day for most people is at least a decent starting point. It can go up or down from there a little bit depending. But really, when we talk about eating enough fat, what we're talking about is more distributing your macronutrients through the day. So you're getting the most value from your food for it being satiety based. So if all you're eating are protein and vegetables with no dietary fat's really helpful because it slows the digestive process down, makes the food feel like it's hanging out a little bit longer, helps with fullness and contentment. That being said, that a lot of the meat proteins you eat probably already have some fat in them, and you could definitely add a sprinkle of nuts or some sliced avocado to a meal to balance it out. But if you know you struggle with nuts, and just an FYI, our lower brains are always trying to take us back to our habits. So if you really like nuts, it's always going to make rational reasons why you have to have nuts. So one of the things, I had one client where canisters of nuts were her issue. So we agreed she would only buy those in 100 calorie packs because they were so problematic. So if you know you love nuts, but you really struggle with having large quantities of nuts, my recommendation to you would be only buy 100 calorie packs and or take the nuts that you have for your husband and put them in individual bags. There's nothing wrong with having them, but you definitely don't have to have them at every meal. And they are very calorie dense, which you really didn't indicate this, but if your goal is weight loss, you would want to be cautious with how many nuts you're eating. If you're in maintenance, of course, you have more calories to play with, so that's a little bit different. So I would actually take a look at the article I'm sharing with you. Make sure when you look at your fat intake for the day, you're kind of seeing what's happening there. Is it fairly evenly distributed through the day so you're getting some at each meal? And paying attention to the sources you are getting it in, mostly probably from your meat products. And then see what you might need to add to round it out. But it's more about balancing your plate. It's not like you have to go fat crazy, but you just want to make sure, kind of like how the household you grew up in where there was no oil or no dietary fat being added, it might leave you not feeling quite as satiated as you otherwise could be. It's also great for things like hormones and stuff like that, especially if you're in your 40s. All right, I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon.